This vehicle we've avoided for a while until it showed up.
Avoided.
And
I guess we have.
Honestly, I really like it in this job when a car surprises us.
Okay.
And
all right.
I am surprised, good and bad, about this vehicle in ways I didn't expect, and I'm incredibly excited to talk about it.
Okay.
But the first thing I have to say right out of the box is this has a stupid name.
It's a stupid
that is
name.
actually made slightly better by the British, because it's the bz4X, but in Britain it's the bz4X, which now sounds like some sort of Star Wars robot that's here to help you. So bz4X is the only way we should refer to this, because it makes it slightly more palatable with a very stupid name.
I do like that better.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive. Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
I was wondering. I had to know. So I looked up both names for this and its sister or brother, whatever, the Solterra, the
Yes.
Subaru.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So BZ stands for Beyond Zero, and 4 is the classification for size of compact SUV, and X stands for crossover. So it totally rolls off the tongue.
It does.
BZ4X. I like BZ4X.
bz4X is
So
much
it's really
better.
just
Yeah.
a marketing term that will appeal to its buyers, certainly. But then Solterra, on the other hand, I couldn't determine if it was sun and earth together or if it meant single woman in the Catalan language from eastern Spain.
Perfect.
But I do feel like it's a bit of a marketing exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Toyota and Subaru are having their Nissan Leaf moment.
Oh, yes, that's excellent. Very true.
This is the first BEV from Toyota, full BEV. It's shared with the Subaru Solterra on the ETNGA platform to make lots of interior space, a decent size. There's tons of backseat space, which is great.
Yes.
And you know what? I think it's going to sell.
This is its second year in production, and it has a 6-inch longer wheelbase than the RAV4. Think about that for a minute. And I think
That's
most of that
significant.
is given to you in the back seat. These back seats are truly enormous.
Yes,
This
yes.
is an incredibly usable vehicle. It's one of the first things that surprised me. Another thing that surprised me is this driver's seat. Why isn't this in the Prius? This is an excellent driver's
Agreed.
seat. What you're buying here is an electric commuter.
Mm-hmm.
And this has excellent supportive seats, which is what you want in your high-mile commuter, which is why it
Every
should
car,
be in
but
the
yes.
Prius. But why it should be in the
Yeah.
Prius. The Prius needs these seats.
Yeah.
The interaction here is great. The space is superb. And look, this is not a car we're going to chuck down a back road and talk about the dynamics. That's not its point. This is a commute device. But the ride is excellent. I think for the task of commute driving, the dynamics are superb and the usability is wonderful. Those are the things about
Those are the standouts.
But I need you to understand right away that I was so surprised by that. For my first impression driving this car was like, this is amazing, because my expectation was that it wasn't going to hit any of those targets, that it was going to feel just like a poor appliance. Because
Right up until you get to the price.
yes, because I thought this is going to be the perfect Chevy Bolt competitor. Because the Chevy Bolt is a fantastic execution of a not flashy but works very well
Yes.
all-electric commuter.
Interesting and kind of interesting to drive.
And does everything it needs to do very, very well. I ran into two things that really surprised me. One is the range here claims to be just over 200 miles, and you're lucky to get 200 out of it. That's not us. That's anybody you read about online.
That's
is
normal driving.
lucky to get 200 miles out of it. Now, if you're-
228 is the claim for
Yeah.
the all-wheel drive limited version, which is this. You're not close to that.
That's problem one, because it should have a little more range to compete. But then the largest problem was when I wanted to compare its prices with the Chevy Bolt and thought this is going to come in somewhere in the mid $30,000 range, and discovered that it's, would you like to tell the nice people how much this costs?
$53,883, almost $54,000.
$54,000 for this. And it is look, I'm going to flat out say it. I'm giving away the end of my review. It is superb. This is the commute device you want for $35,000. At 54, I come to a screeching brakes halt and go, really?
Screeching regen brakes. halt.
Seriously, $54,000 for this when the range is low, and with what you get, This is one of those realities where you're paying for the technology. It's got to be paid for somewhere. My guess is the margin on this is not very high.
No,
Even with the collaboration with Subaru, I doubt they're making money on these. It's costing you $54,000, and this is what you got. That's hard.
On the Subaru website, when you go look at Solterras, Subaru claims the Solterra is a better value than the bz4X. Clearly, limited to limited in both manufacturers means something different, because if you were to apply the same thinking and go look at the Solterra Limited, it actually starts at $1,315 more than this. Limited.
Interesting. Okay.
This actually has a lower base MSRP.
Yeah, this starts at like 43, which if you get the $7,500 thing, whatever, okay, you got it into the 30s. I understand.
I love that we're turning around at a gas station, by the way.
Yeah, that's that. I figured you would enjoy the humor of that. Yeah, I figured we could all just embrace the irony of the turnaround at a gas station. Yep.
Well, let's talk about charging.
Wait, sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm actually putting it in park.
Oh.
This is one of those park reverse, just gear shift interactions that you have to figure out. And the gear shift is like the water faucet. There should be no figuring out. It should just, this obviously works that way. Look, it works fine. It works fine. But I promise you, the first time you get in, you're going to go, how does this work? That's frustrating, as is the, you have a weird knob. Here's the irony. You have a weird knob for the gear shift, and you have no knob for volume.
That's really stupid.
I'll flip it the other way around. How about buttons for gear shift and the knob for volume? Did it all make more sense?
See, the problem is he's using logic.
I'm sorry. Go on. You were going to say.
It's all
now
good.
That we're parked.
Okay, so charging. This is about a 65.5 kilowatt battery size, all right? Recently, near us, we had Electrify America plus Rocky Mountain Power install some 350 kilowatt chargers, so some fast chargers for DC charging. But the problem with this is the maximum input is 150 kilowatts, maximum charge, but that doesn't always happen. There's no guarantee. See, as soon as you plug in, then it actually, it looks at what power is available to the chargers. And then it only started at 48 kilowatts, and as the battery filled here, the charging speed went down to 23 kilowatts. So it's a dream. We're not there.
Yeah.
So it was still, for 40% charge, it was still 35 minutes of charging. Not terrible, but you're still sitting there bored looking at your phone, and then you look at your phone twice, and you're still sitting there.
You are still sitting there. Not even
charging
looking at your
speeds
phone 3 times.
are not fast. And then for the amount of range that you get, and then you factor in the price, I don't feel like this is worth it.
There is an EVgo free charging for a year, but to Paul's point, you're going
when
to
you
be,
buy or lease, yes.
Yeah, you're going to be actually limited on the speed of that charging. It's not going to be nearly as fast as is advertised on the box that you just plugged into. I have even read that if you get the all-wheel drive version, it may limit you down to 100. So, and then there's that thing like that movie in Independence Day, sorry, old reference, where it was negotiating with host, when somehow we hacked into that's what happens. The car and the charger are negotiating with host, and then they decide what speed they'd like to give you today. Whatever's advertised on the box is not necessarily what's happening. We're glad to have the fast chargers finally in our area. It has been a long time, and that is the thing that theoretically makes electric vehicles the thing you can road trip, because theoretically now, again, you are able to charge quickly, but there's all this negotiation going on, and then you have the infrastructure of the car, which on this car is lower, so it doesn't matter how fast that could be, and that means the guy behind you that really can charge fast, and now he's honking. That happens too.
There's theory, and then there's the ocean of reality. They are different.
Yeah, that's hard.
All right, let's talk about styling now. And there's parts of this that are actually interesting and engaging, starting with the hood shape. Not the vertical prow of the front of the car, but that hood shape and those 2 fender swells are actually kind of supercar-like.
Yeah.
They're actually quite pretty. And then I like the aggressive stance. I even like the fender flare kind of blacked out look, because that indicates a little bit more toughness, aggression. It's not just your basic SUV, which it is, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
So it's designer tricks using to make it look a little bit more substantial. A lot of surface development going on. I like the theme that's introduced just under the mirrors here, and it goes towards the back, and then it meets that rear fender flare, which is a sagging surface that doesn't match anything else on the car. It starts at the B pillar and sags to create the illusion of a wider rear flare, but then you look down the side and the rear track is the same as the front track.
Sure.
They're not wider.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just an illusion. And that sag makes it look like it's got a weak rear end. It doesn't have this
Okay.
strength to it that I want. And then it terminates at what I will liken to Mirai styling. We see that on the Mirai, those lights, those shapes, and then what Toyota's currently doing on the Supra, the Sienna, just about every car, some rear air vent opening, some rear exit from the wheel well there, so it terminates down there, but then there's another spoiler lip on the back of the spoiler lip, so there's a double spoiler edge.
There's a bunch of weird lines on the back.
And
yes.
then yet another spoiler edge at the trailing edge of the top of the rear window here that I'm really hoping was for aerodynamic purposes because it's split and it stands proud quite a lot, and it's split down the middle with some diffusers, and I believe that's for aerodynamics. We're just going to say that's for aerodynamics.
We're going to say that they did it right for aero and not for style.
Because usually what you're doing there is delaminating the airflow off the surface of the car for aerodynamic efficiency, but it really looks like more of a styling win than an aerodynamic
Who knows?
efficiency. But then you factor in this practically vertical front end. There's no way to make a brick go fast.
Fair. That is a struggle.
Electric motors, but it's a bug catcher. So I had a neighbor come by and say this was beautiful. Beautiful? Beautiful. It's different. It's certainly striking, but if you look at the proportions without the graphics on them and just look at the shape itself, it's not that interesting. It gets interesting because of all these shapes all over the car, and there's a lot of them, and I guess that's where we're at. We have to have a lot of shapes to capture our interest and keep us engaged, and it can't just be simple, beautiful surfaces anymore. Especially for EVs. What EV do you see that's just really simple? Well, Rivians actually are.
Rivians and the
they
original
look great.
Tesla styling was very, very good, where it felt like a flow form. I mean,
Two different schools of thought here.
I will definitely say that this is striking. This is look twice. I don't know that ultimately it is attractive, but it is very striking, and this color is phenomenal.
Beautiful.
This color is actually really close to the color that I have on my Emira, and I cannot believe that's the case.
That's true.
So it's a very good color. I think this is, notice me, attractive. I was mentioning to the Bolt prior.
Yeah.
The Bolt is not an attractive vehicle.
No.
I think this says notice me, and then I don't think you go, oh, it's ugly. I think you just go, oh, it's fine. But I think it has that initial spark of, oh, that's interesting, and then you really take a look at it to the detail you're looking at, and you realize that it's okay. I don't think this is ugly. I really don't. I think the Bolt is unattractive. I think this is fine. And I think they've done what they can with an SUV shape, and they have complicated that SUV shape a lot. The color helps a lot. This is definitely, styling is totally subjective, even though Paul has the background to talk about it. I have to jump to interior. They're doing the Prius thing with the gauge cluster, which is they're trying to get you to have your steering wheel low so you can see the gauge cluster. If you don't like to drive with your steering wheel low, I'm sorry, because the steering wheel has to go low for you to see the whole gauge cluster. It has the eyesight thing here that watches where you're looking. You know what it really doesn't like, and this makes me laugh? You turning around to back up. It hates that so much, because my eyes are back there, which is where they're supposed to be, but we're all supposed to be staring here at the backup camera.
I want to take a Sureform file and hack that stupid thing off, because if you look away for more than a second, it bings at you. I've had this car just bing a warning at me, like, warning, I'm about to warn you.
Well, that's a Subaru thing, is that Subaru has warnings for warnings.
It's it just warns you for something.
Warnings.
It just bings at me. And
there's
nothing on the dash.
There's no
just
glove
bing.
box. It is a car without a glove box and a car without a frunk. So if you need either of those things, not possible here. Big pockets on the doors, actually a decent sized center console, a large trough down here for whatever you'd like to use it for. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know what else to call it.
For your bags.
So that's all going on. I mean, there's very usable space here. It's just not always the ways you would expect. I continue to be shocked by the back seats.
Yes, the back seats, but it's an EV. It's a thin lithium battery, so flat floor. So of course it has a lot of space. Every EV has a lot of space back there, but it's good. This has the Volkswagen ID.4 problem.
Okay.
In packaging, because you open up the hood and it's the electric systems unit controller. It's the controller and the processor all in one under the hood. And it sort of initially looks like an engine. It's not an engine. It's all the processing for the entire system of the car. That's where they chose to put it. But the ID4 has no frunk. This has no frunk. I think this is poor packaging because that should have been under the cargo floor in the rear to give you any sort of frunk. And the fact that you can open the hood indicates that it needs service, or your Toyota and Subaru are just not confident that it could be sealed up and hidden. It's going to need service at some point. Why does it need such easy access? Internal combustion engines need easy access for service. None of that stuff needs service ever, theoretically.
Well, and also we are very conditioned, especially with SUV electrics, that there should be a frunk. And so you're in a situation where you have that conditioning and it's not the case.
Yes.
You need to drive. I have more to say, but you definitely need to drive. I know you're excited.
By the way, Toyota was desperate to use their 12.3-inch screen.
Yes.
That is wider than the center console.
It is.
So that's why there's this little jog. It's not a styling. They had to fit the screen. So hence the little jog.
Well, and they clearly made the decision, we don't want to come toward the driver at all, so this will be a nice shape.
Yes.
And over here by the driver, we'll crowd the passenger.
Yes.
It'll go around the vents. It'll be fine. Just don't ask questions. It'll be fine. You know how pianos bow out? That's the inspiration
okay.
was. It's piano black. It's piano black with a piano bowing shape.
I'm
Perfect.
sold.
We're done.
I'm sold.
I can write a little Star Wars script right now. Oh no, they got bz4X. bz4X, help me. Seriously, it works as a robot name. I'm just saying.
I guess so. You're educating me on all things Star Wars. I like it. Time to drive. And we need to discuss regen capability because
it's a key thing in EVs. Yeah.
Subaru has paddles.
Okay.
Whereas the bz4X does not, to control the force of your regen braking. And the Subaru, I guess that's what Subaru means when they say better value. Is that what we're going for? The
better regen,
has paddles. But there's so many Subaru things. You know that collaboration, you see it in the GR86, you see it in the GT86. What else is Subaru about this? It is X mode.
X mode.
X mode with grip control.
With grip control. I'm sorry, but X mode with grip control, that is a late night advertisement for something you don't need. This food chopper has X mode with grip control. You can puree a cucumber with X mode and grip control.
Breakfast has never been easier.
With X mode and grip control.
Send it to college with your son or daughter. They will be eating like a king or queen, and it'll be easier. There's no cleanup necessary.
An all-automated pool vacuum with X mode and grip control.
It applies to anything.
It's amazing.
Your new Dyson Home Vac.
Totally. That is a terrible terminology for whatever it is this does. This is, look, it's the low-speed crawl mode on something that doesn't have gears, is really what we're talking about.
It's just limiting the motor output. So you can control the settings here up to 5 or 6 settings for the speed at which the wheels will grip the earth. And it's something nice here to have in your heart. And I feel like all these safety systems, along with X mode, are making people so fearful of driving.
Absolutely, yes.
When good tires, good winter tires or all-weather tires, that's the best X mode.
Get yourself the tires for the conditions that you use and grip to things.
Like a go-kart on good winter tires could be just as grippy as this with grip control. I want to try that.
I want to X mode with grip control. I'm sorry, but somebody's very excited about all those terms.
The Slapshot 5000 now has X mode with grip control.
Well, I see the last model didn't. I needed X mode with grip control.
Cooking has never been easier.
My kitchen is not complete until I have that chopper.
Chop your vegetables,
I'm telling
scrambled
you.
eggs, smoothies.
Yep.
All right, 214 horsepower, 2 electric motors, one in the front, one in the rear, for a combined torque total of 248 pound-feet of torque.
Yep.
And this thing does move. I mean, it's still an EV. Even with those low numbers, it still moves quite well.
Yep.
But nothing about this is really fun to drive. And I feel like the buyers of this are going to appreciate everything else about the interior, the space, the seat comfort, and the commutability rather than being fun to drive, because that's not why you're interested or buy this.
Yep.
You're going to always be checking your range, because as soon as you do punch it, it kind of moves, but then your range is going to punish you.
I mean,
It's
0 to
always gonna have to
60
be
in
plugged
the
in.
mid-6s, okay,
Yeah.
which is plenty fast for normal commute driving. It is slower than people have calibrated themselves for EVs. That's the only thing. But the nice thing is, because it is an electric motor, full torque all the time, that means that anytime you need acceleration, there's no waiting, and it does move this 4,500-pound thing really well.
The seating position is good, and the instrument panel is low, and that's why Toyota, well, that's why they designed this. It almost kind of says that this should be on a ratchet system in arms to like move that up and down, but it doesn't. Can't be that cool.
That strange bathtub look to your gauge cluster,
Yeah.
it's very odd, yeah.
But it allows this instrument panel to be really low,
Yeah, it
so
does.
it's a nice view of the road, and that will sell. That's what people like. I like that Toyota and Subaru have really focused on what matters to consumers. Because people will get in this and think, oh, it's great visibility all the way around, and it's okay range, and it's comfortable seats, and it checks a lot of boxes from what people are looking for in their SUV.
I'm
Ready
ready.
for full throttle? I'm just going to ease into it. Okay, that's underwhelming.
It's fine.
It's not
fine.
just taking off.
It's not.
Why does everybody equate fun to just, man, this thing is quick. It just takes off, and so it's fun to drive.
If it goes fast in a straight line, that must mean it's more fun, right?
I guess so.
Isn't that what, don't we all just want to go fast in a straight line until we all get sick? Isn't that what isn't that just a day in the life?
I
That's
would
what
put
we're
my name
all-
on that sign-up sheet.
We're all fighting for the front seat for that ride.
I'm going to come around with a petition. You're going to sign it.
That's that Superman ride at Six Flags. They just launch you and then you come back down. Fast! That was fun. I don't think that should apply to cars, but it does.
No.
Speaking of things that should apply to cars, if you are actually shopping for an EV, you want an EV commuter, that's actually one of the struggles for this bz4X.
Thank you. I like that you keep
Is
saying
its
that.
competition at $53,000, $54,000. Go on autotempest.com/everyday right now and look up other EVs or other SUVs you can get for $54,000. Look up other used electric cars because their values are plummeting. You can
Yes.
search any combination you would like on autotempest.com. It searches all the other sites faster than those sites search by themselves. Autotempest.com/everyday is how to let them know we sent you. You should go search right now.
I really feel so mixed about this because if you're buying it for around town, for commuting, for short distances, okay, I can definitely see that.
I think it's a great choice for that task. I just cannot believe it costs $54,000.
But then $54,000
I-
makes 0 cents.
Honestly, when my
It makes
first,
beyond 0 cents.
It makes beyond 0 cents. Yes, there you go. We're back to BZ. Moving on. Here's the thing. When I first drove this, I was wildly surprised in a positive way about it. I was like, this is so much better than I expected it to be, and I stand by all the positive things, except the price just chops it right off at the knees.
Yeah, it's a great $35,000, maybe $38,000 car for loaded features.
And somebody's arguing you buy the base model and you do the $7,500 tax benefit,
credit, yeah.
and there you go, which is not money in your pocket, by the
No.
way, and that's going to get it down. That's the way that the math is always like faked.
We're
But
still
this
talking
is,
high $40,000 for this, which is still not
for
worth
this
it.
one here, and I really struggle with the value proposition here, and I suspect that there's just no way to make this cheaper as far as the actual price. They might even be losing money on it now. At mid 55 range, you're going to end up with a lot of competition in 5-seat SUVs, hybrid and non, that you can find something that is more attractive, better to drive, more luxurious. Pick the thing that you like. If what you're looking for is just, I want an EV, then you can get a better performing, more powerful, better dynamic Tesla, and you can get a cheaper than this commute vehicle in the Chevy Bolt, which makes this a real struggle. You can get to things like the EV6, that's price competitive to this.
True.
That's something else in there. The Ioniq from Hyundai is excellent. That's also price competitive. And all of the ones I've also mentioned all have greater range than this. That's the other problem.
Buy a used Model 3 or Model Y, same space, better range, cheaper price.
That's a struggle.
Yeah, it really is. Then you're buying style. Do you like the style better?
Yeah, and I do. I prefer the style here. I prefer the interaction here, but this is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Ooh, I got a tiny screech. Did you hear that? The tiniest of screeches. Oh yeah, that's underwhelming.
It's fine. That's the thing. It's fine. It's not standout that makes you go ooh EV,
Yeah.
and you're rocketing through your available range there, my friend.
Yeah, see, it's always fear-inducing.
Uh-huh.
As soon as you want to have a little fun,
Yeah.
you got to pay for it with range.
Isn't that just a metaphor for life?
I
Want to
guess
have
so.
a little fun? You got to pay for it.
Pay to
That's,
play.
That's where we're at. Yep.
Yeah, we're already down to 74%. 153-mile range at 74%.
You hacked off like 4 or 5 miles by just doing
Because
one acceleration
I was a little
Yep.
bit naughty.
You were just wee naughty, and the bz4X was not your friend.
No, it was
Uh-huh.
not.
See him in the next Star Wars movie, bz4X. He's coming for you, or he's coming to help you. I'm not sure. We haven't written the whole character bio
and then
yet.
it's going to get its whole movie series,
But
right?
well, then Disney Plus will have the bz4X series. I don't know, where he becomes a hero,
Awesome.
works with the Mandalorian. Stay with me, folks. It's going to be great.
Right on.
I'm Disney. I'm giving you gold.
I
It's
cannot
great
wait
stuff.
to not watch that.